Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Lili Nishmas, Imi, Morosi, Ruspas, Mordechai. Rabbi Isai, I got this again, at least from 20 people. Here's a tank missile. You could pay money and they'll write whatever you want on the missile. So this one says, good morning, Rabbi Isai. From MDY, Yishkoyach for the donation. And I guess it's a geschmacka. The first part is good morning, Rabbi Isai, and then when it hits, it's like,
That's the last thing they'll hear.
Yeah, that's the last thing they say. And this Rabbi Isai is not to be done by my son. To Hamas, enjoy the gift, love the Stefs. That was his thing, his little gift. Happy MD Wire. I got this violation in the mail for going over the speed limit. So I looked over here. Instead of a 25, in the 25 speed, he went 36. But I'm happy they were able to capture the MDY magnet. Yossi Williger from Nazar Daf Beis. If you look on top, you'll see right next to the Tesla sign is the MDY magnet. This is a very long one. This is only half of the email that you see. I'm going to try to read it quickly. It's hard to believe now, but just over 3 months ago, I wanted to do Daf Yomi as much as Reb YY wants to be a Baptist. That has to do with the speech that he said. Yes, I was very satisfied with being the first Seder Rosh Chabura and Iyun guy, and I was also very satisfied with getting up at 5:20 every morning to learn Iyun, the small Chabura, very Gishmak 200 plus Koilol. The last thing you need to do is to learn the Daf. Then came your video before Kiddushin on how you began learning again. Your video, which was promoting learning the Daf, didn't initially make me the slightest more interested in doing the Daf. With that exaggeration, it shook me up big time. At that time, if anybody wants to see that video, it's the first Daf of Kiddushin. At that time, I was very comfortable, even too comfortable with the way I was learning. Your video made me uncomfortable. I was learning, and your video made me uncomfortable. There was something about your video that suggests to me that there's something very different about your story and approach. So intrigued and very curious, I decided to go deep into your backstory, watch the Art Scroll interview, became convinced the single biggest difference between our approach was that I was operating entirely in my comfort zone, whereas you were, by contrast, constantly going beyond your comfort zone. Moved and inspired, I was still interested in doing the Daf. I like this guy. This is a real Lakewood younger man in his 50s, learning Iyun his whole life. I met him, and there's a picture of him in a second. And radically changed my attitude to existing Sidorim, both in quality and actual time spent learning. I'm just skipping around there. To my surprise, literally overnight, with a new and more determined attitude to learning, an attitude of being ready to go out of my comfort zone, suddenly all of my fervently strong opposition to doing the Daf and the years of anti-Daf propaganda I eagerly bought into, vanished into thin air, and realizing that I desperately needed the Yidis HaTorah. Reminds me, I saw a lot of these videos, the very geschmack to watch, these very, very liberal leftists in Israel that were strong leftists. October 7th, one person said, I was nifter on October 7th, I was reborn again. Okay, not to get into politics, but a lot of people, in the spur of, you could change your attitude going from here to there. But it's not a steer. Daf is not a steer to you, but okay, fine. Decided to do the Daf because after decades of learning slowly Be'iyun, I needed a geschmack and energy to help me dramatically shift gears. Kitzer, truth is that our official deserves a whole chunk of credit too. He went to the sim that our official did. It's not talking about me, so I'm just going to skip it. Fast forward, an amazing Shabbos in Connecticut, part of Klal Yisrael MDY. It's amazing it was so many ways. For me, the greatest highlight was the made it entirely worthwhile. I was hearing you speak was a Shabbos about how you love sleeping 9 hours a day. I'm not going to say the rest. That said, over Shabbos, I met so many amazing members in MDY family. I got to meet official again 3 years later, Yosef Biliak, and then there were the fellow MDYs from Lakewood. Met the first time over Shabbos with Dov Zell, Byron Erbs, Habocher Shalom Steinberg, attached to the selfie. The Reb Nachum Horowitz took with me. I also zoich to share a room with Simcha Klein. Kitzur. Last but not least, I want to thank Reb Nachman Seltzer for doubting me 3 months ago when he read out my first email the day after it joined. Remember, I read her email, Mamish, the day after he joined. I said, it's funny that I'm reading it, but it was geschmack nevertheless. Every single time I felt like quitting, it's what kept me from dropping out was my determination to prove him wrong. Bez Hashem, I write again in a few months. That too will be thanks to him. Thank you again, Rebelli, so much for inspiring me to go out of my comfort zone and to do the Daf. Dov Wachmann, Lakewood, New Jersey. Here he is. the one on the left. The one on the right is Nachum Harvitz, Yishkoyach Reb Doiv. And Baruch Dayanemes, the Shmuel Moshe Cohen Ben Reb Chaim. I believe this is where my father stayed at in his house for a long time in Miami. My brother-in-law learned with Rebelli 2 years Daf Yomi. This person in the picture was Nifter, and he learned with us for 2 years. He's one of the Chabura. He had a lot of Yisurim. His neshama should have an aliyah. Boisai, this is, I don't know if there's a coincidence. I guess there was some sort of, I didn't see the thumbnail yet. I should have seen the thumbnail. I think this has to do with the thumbnail. And the reason why I'm showing this is because it's very interesting because of the next email. Check this out. Just wanting to know that Lily is a big fan of your shir. Was honored to be part of yesterday's animation. Yesterday we had a dog animation. Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Rough. Lily Lowenstein, the dog, and Yisrael and Zevi Lowenstein as well, RBS. Okay, so that's one. Look at this dog. Look at it carefully. That's one email today. Check this out. Does anybody see enough communion between the dogs? It's to say, I think it's one type of dog. It's beagles that like to share. Look at this one. It's mamish the same. But it's not. It has, I know I just insulted the owners, probably think I'm Meshuggah. This one has a lot more white on its around its nose. I think. I don't know. Maybe it is. No. Is it? MDY necklace or what? I don't know. MDY. Beagles are the best. I love listening to you share every day. This is from Perry Dubinsky. And really enjoy being able to attend live a few times in Miami. Yesterday was the best. Oh, he's from Miami and that's from RBS. When I saw the YouTube cover photo of the beagle, that was it for both myself and Ahuba. Since I often listen to Shir in the car and walks, well, I can assure you that Ramses, our beagle, has heard hundreds of Black Gemara. He may not remember them all, but he's the best beagle ever. Here are a few photos of him listening to the Shir. Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Rough. Unbelievable. That guy said arf and he said rough. I'm serious. It's not. You can't make this stuff up.
When I first came to Denver, you used to have a dog sit by a shear outside the window every day. When the shear was up, he'd get up and go away.
You mean a random dog? Gilgul.
So
No, these are. But how's it? What's shot? 2 people sent me an email with the same dog, same thing. Rabbi Sai, the Koilel sponsor for the day. The Nishmat's Bluma Batyo Bas Reb Yankov. Today is Rosh Loishim. The Masechta sponsor for the unity of Am Yisrael. The kיצד the Regel. Table 6 for Naftali Ben Channa, who was in a skiing accident almost 2 years ago and is paralyzed from his waist down, a young bacher. And Reb Chaim said we should learn kיצד the Regel for him. Paras HaChodesh, Nishmat זכריה Ben Moshe, Nishmat זכריה Bas Yosef. Paras HaChodesh, Refuah Shalema, Dvora Bas Sarah, the mother of Gershon Ben Moshe. Paras HaChodesh, Hatzlocha L'zechus Yosef Mayer ben Rochel and yidden worldwide. Paras HaYom, Yossi Saunders, Refuah Shalema to my daughter Aliza Yael Bas Miriam, and that you come home from hospital. Yossi Saunders just made Aliyah Mamish right before the whole Chadgadia. Second, Paras HaYom, Dov Wachmann, as a zchus for tonight's chasuna of our daughter to Avrumi Cohen, November 21st. Yosef and Chaisara, for all the zchusim that come for supporting the Limud Torah, that's the art of the month. Boisai, here we go. Here's a shiloh, the shiloh of the day. A person owns a mikvah, and somebody goes to the mikvah and slips on a puddle of water in the mikvah. Chayev or potter. And if he's chayev, what's the hezek?
He's in service because it dripped out of him.
Now you slip in the water, so it's not drip.
What is it?
It's
It's what kind of hezek? No, I'm throwing you guys off. You guys are thinking in terms of regel and tzroiros. I'm talking about something brand new. How about the first Mishnah of Bava Kama? Bar. It's a bar. Not according to Stipler. We'll see. Just throwing that out. Toshma.
Now this was at a mikvah.
Yes.
So isn't a mikvah supposed to be more careful anyways around it?
Could be. Well, maybe the mikvah the guy should have cleaned up. I don't know. All right. So yesterday we had a question. Tzroiros. Tzroiros are tzroiros. Tzroiros, we'll show a video soon of tzroiros. But if you don't remember, tzroiros is an animal that's walking, minding its own business, steps on a stone, the stone goes shooting out and breaks something. If he does it 3 times, on the 4th time, does it become a muad? In other words, tzroiros, according to Chachamim, you pay only half. And that's Hatzlocha L'zechus Yosef Mayer. If you do it 3 times, you become a muad. Toshma. I'll bring you a riot. The Tani Rama by Chesed. Harnagol shoyshe Rochel la'aver zchus. V'toka bo yishvaroi. If a chicken put his head into a glassware and made some noises until it broke, that would be what? Here's the video. That would be close to regel, but what's breaking the glass? The sound waves. So what are sound waves? Tzroiros. Here goes. Here's the video. The kitzur, that was from, I took it from Kiddushin. It's not the best because they're not really moving, but anyway, you get the idea. The chicken broke it with the sound wave. He has to pay the entire amount. V'omer Rav Yosef, Amri Beirav, sus shetzanaf, v'chamor shenar, v'shiber zakelim. What if a donkey, whatever the noise, neighed or whatever it is, made the noise, and the horse, v'shiber zakelim, they broke glass. Mishalem chatzinez. So we have like a machlokes. The Tanakh says you have to pay the full amount. Rav Yosef says in the name of Rav, you have to pay a half amount. Happens to be that today you look in Yonah D'Yoma, fighter jets could break glass with the sonic booms or whatever. Sound could break glass. My love could go into avat lasazimni. So l'chayr we have a machlokes. It's not a machlokes. Well, a machlokes b'hakim ifligi. What's a machlokes here? Mar sovar tabu yitesam Amud Aleph. Mar sovar yesh hada. The manoma that says a chayiv nezik shalom is because you did it 3 times. You have to pay the full amount, like a muad. Umar savar ein hada. You don't become a muad. A tam tzroiros remains tzroiros forever, and you always pay half an amount, and that's why in the name of Rav they said you only pay half. Says Gemara loy b'chad zimno. We're talking about this is his very first time. We've looked at the sumchus rabbanim. Going back to what we said yesterday, is tzroiros chatzi nezek. Basically, they're pounding it into our heads, so we remember this machlokes forever. This machlokes, whether it's tzroiros, you pay half, you pay the whole, and this is like the 4th or 5th time in the last 24 hours that we're saying this. As the Gemara of a mashunahu, it's very different for a chicken to break glass, to stick its head in a glass jar. And therefore, what? Rabbi Isai, for the 10th time, if it's mishuna, it becomes a keren. And a keren you pay according to everybody the first time you would pay. Says Gemara, this base bezrane. Inside the jar, why is the chicken poking its head in there? Because there's some seeds. It went to eat. That's normal for it to poke its head and try to grab some food. I forgot to say, today's shir is sponsored Lili Nishmas, the neshamas that were lost in the last month and more in this terrible war. The zchus, the refuah of all the chaylim, over 5,000, who knows how many. And the zchus, the ones who were kidnapped, especially the little kids away from their parents, separated from their parents, in terrible, it's hard to imagine. In dark and crazy circumstances. So they should have a Yeshua. The families that are crying for them should have a nechama. Umar sovar ein hada. Okay. Loi b'chadzim b'plukta. The symbols we said this already. V'mshunu. This baby's right. Fine. Boy Ravashi. Otherwise, we're going to go through a series of questions which the Gemara doesn't even have an answer for. Interesting questions. Yesh shinui l'tzroiros. So here's tzroiros again. If you want to see tzroiros, this is regular. Okay. He's just walking, broke something. Great. We have chatzin nezik tzroiros, and we have sumchus that says nezik shalom. Great. Now this is today is going to be a little bit of a mix-up because a lot of things came. It's my fault. Hold on. I can't do this. Here we go. Can't wait to get back to Ramah Bet Shemesh. I have my little buttons. I can push anyone I want. Here goes. No, that's not even it. Which one do I want? this one. We're going through everything. It's Chazar. Sroirois b'shinoi is he's not moving. He's not walking. When he's walking normally and he doesn't pay attention to the stone, great. But over here, what is he doing? He's standing still, then he gives it a kick. Boom. So it's Meshuna. Yes, a pool shot, exactly. It's Meshuna, it's different. So the Gemara asks a question: if he did tzroiris in a weird way, do we half that? You're already at a half. You're already at 50% for tzroiris. But this is the strange tzroiris. This is not the normal walking. This is where he kicks it. So do we say this is revia nezek, and therefore you should only pay 25%? Oh, ancient tzroiris living nezek. Oh no. Says the Gemara Tishlim in the Rava. L'chayra, I have a raya from Rava. Why? Because a second ago we asked the boy Rava. Yesh adol tzroiros, and adol tzroiros. Rava asked the question: can you become a muad? In other words, can you go from 50 to 100? So, in order to understand this raya well, because I had a big problem with this raya, then I called up the Bel zchus at 12:15 in the morning in Eretz Yisrael, and he picked up the phone. I said, "Are you sleeping?" He said, "No." I said, "Prove it to me. You're talking learning now." I asked him the question, and in 2 seconds he says, "Look at Tosfos Daf Amud Aleph," and I did. And Tosfos says over here, "V'nira de b'tervayim me'boyleim yesh hadar." In other words, Rava's question, if this muad, when it comes to tzroiros, was on this Gemara as well, on shinui and a not shinui. His whole question was, does it go from 50% to 100%? Tosfos says. He asked it even on a weird type. In other words, Rava knew that you always pay 50% for tzroiros. Minimum, it never goes below 50% to 25%. That's what he says here. He brings this Gemara of the so he says, that's exactly what Rava meant. And that's what the Gemara over here has because it bothered me. What do you mean? Rava asked the question on a dollar tzroiros on a regular case. But what about a shinui case? How do you have proof? So he says it's talking about even a shinui case. That's one shot. Okay, we're not going to go into both because the whole sugi goes back and forth. If it's a weird shinui or not a weird tzroiros, not a weird tzroiros, but we're just going to keep it as that. Says Gemara. Well, Dilma Rav Imtim Salema Kalmar. Maybe Rava, his whole question was Imtim Salema. In other words, even if you say Imtim Salema ain't shinui, even if you say that it's always at 50%, Yeshada ain't Aida. Could you become a muad or not? Teku, so that's Teku number 1, meaning we have to wait until Mashiach comes to know the answer to the question, is there a 25% when it comes to tzroiros? If you do it in a different type of way than a regular tzroiros, do you pay half of the half?
Do you ever learn into Halacha Moshe Sinai to say lesser or more? Halacha Moshe Sinai's tzroiros is 50%. Would you ever learn out above or below? Or that is the fact that's halacha, that's halacha?
I hear you're saying those words were given and that's it. Well, the Halacha Moshe Sinai said it's 50%, like it's a tam kind of thing, and now you have to once it's a meshuna, so it's half of that. I don't know. I don't think it's such a problem. Rav Ashi, what do you want to know? Because people always tell me, why don't you repeat the question? So sometimes I don't repeat the question because I forget to, and sometimes it's not important for anybody to know. It's such shtusim, we don't want to repeat it. But this was good enough for Bichil. He's saying maybe halacha Moshe Sinai is very exact. Hashem gave a certain halacha, and you don't learn things into it. You don't. Hashem said it's 50%. That's it. You don't say, well, maybe if you do it in this case, it should be 25%. That was his question. Rav Ashi, koyach koycha. Koyach means the force, the initial force. So I got to go back here. You guys don't look at any of this stuff. Oh, here's koyach koycha. Just remind me that this chart's before we skipped over. Basically, here's koyach, the force. His initial force caused that, and then something broke from that and broke something else. So it's koyach koycha. It's the second force. The first force of his broke the first jug. A piece of the first jug went and broke a second jug. Believe it or not, we're going to have a case where the second jug broke a third jug. Koyach koycha, the zchus. What does Sumchus hold? Because Sumchus doesn't agree with the whole Sroiris to begin with. He says it's no halacha l'mishum Sinai in Sroiris. It's 100% when it comes to Sroiris. What does he say about the force of a force? Because look, this will answer a lot of questions, and I believe that you, Rebbe Chiel, would also like this question. Why? Because if there's halacha l'mishum Sinai, I touched upon it yesterday. How can you argue there's no halacha l'mishum Sinai? That you don't find that anywhere in Shas. Oh, I don't hold of halacha l'mishum Sinai. It's like Gzeir Shava. So, like it's so strong. It comes from Sinai. Oh, I don't believe in this Gzeir Shava. Well, sometimes the Gemara says he didn't get it in the tradition. But halacha l'mishum Sinai is something that you shouldn't be able to say that. So that's what the Gemara is saying here, l'chayra. There's a halacha l'mishum Sinai. We know there is one. So what does Sumchus do with that? Well, maybe Sumchus says that the whole halacha l'mishum Sinai is the second force. The first force, no, that's not even halacha l'mishum Sinai. Halacha l'mishum Sinai was the force after the force. The pool shot. It kareemed. What do they call in pool?
Banked.
Oh, the bank shot. Okay, fine. I used to be decent in pool because I had a pool table in my house or whatever.
So did you.
You also did? No, we're gonna have to
We
go.
made it into base measures.
I had a cover for it, and we leaned on it a couple of times. Okay. Or perhaps Sumchus doesn't believe in this halacha l'mishum Sinai at all. Teiku. There was a Meshugana once that walked over to the brisker Rav while he was Davish Ben Esrei and says, I don't understand how come most of the Ibayas in Shas don't have an answer to. So when the brisker Rav finished Ben Esrei, he went over to him and he said, they do. They do have an answer. Okay? So they told the story over to the Chafetz Chaim. And a couple of hours later, the Chafetz Chaim said the brisker Rav is right. So those who were there understood that the Chafetz Chaim sat down and thought about the whole Shas. Like he went through all the things in Shas and he decided that the brisker Rav is right. Anyway, we keep on going here. This animal was kicking. So meva'etes is more of a keren. It's kicking. It's doing a maisa of damage. Or tzroiros v'shavers hakelim sham chatzinez. Iboil. Hechi kamar hoysem meva'etes. V'zika b'viyuta. What did it mean? Did it say that it was kicking and that's considered a keren in the first time? It's a time you only have to pay 50. And when it says tzroiros, it means the regular tzroiros. And mishalim chatzi nezek, and who holds that tzroiros you pay half a nezek? Rabbanani. Now the difference between the question is when he said the word tzroiros, did he mean tzroiros the regular? Or this is the weird, this is the strange tzroiros, which is more like keren. Mishalim chatzi nezek, haki urchi mishalim nezek shalom. And that would be sumchos, umani sumchos. That the regular tzroiros you pay a whole. So why does this brayza talk about half payment? Because it's not regular tzroiros, it's the strange tzroiros that come from a kick. When that cow is standing still and just decides to kick the stone, on that you pay half. So is it rabbanon or is it sumchos? Tashma Seifa. I'll prove it to you. Dars ala kliyu shavartoi. It stepped on the vessel and so this is what? But this is our case. But it is okay. Shall I show you again? Fine. Now this we're familiar with. This one right here. This is the an animal. It could be a bird. Dorsal klushvarta. So that's right here. There's a bowling ball, or because Yoshi felt that it rolled. It says in Rashi it rolled. I like this one better because it doesn't say anything about a bowling ball. Fine. Because over there, he's also stepping on the bowling ball and he calls the bowling ball. Okay, fine. So it broke one jug and one of the pieces that went flying, broke something else. On the first one, you pay full damage. Why do you pay chatzi nezek? Because it's tzroiros. But it can't be zchus as the Gemara. Am Yisrael chatzin nezek. Zchus doesn't hold half a nezek. He holds his full nezek. V'chiteima, listen to this. V'chiteima rishon la taza. V'sheni sheni la taza. Perhaps we're talking about the second force and the third force. In other words, a third kli, a second kli, and a third kli. Rishon means lahataza, that it's the second vessel that was broken by the first vessel. Rishon broke a second one. V'sheni, and the second vessel broke a third one. V'shani le'yilesumchos ben koichai. That a kli, the first one that broke would be a nezik shalom, and the koichai would be a half a nezik. So if that's the case, if it does go according to, you want to force it and say it's talking about it's going according to zchus. There's a big difference between the first force and the force of the force. Well, if that's the case, Rav Ashi had that exact question, and he should have brought it right from here. Now what? According to zchus, is the force of the force like a force or not? You see that there's a difference between the first force and the second force.
Would you pay a fourth damage in that case? Because it's half and half?
No, according to him, it's whole in half. According to zchus.
Right. According to everybody else?
Well, we want to say that it's his. It doesn't. It's only according to him that it starts off at a high, so it goes lower. We can't go according to anybody else. Rav Ashi kirabona mukilo. Oh, so Rav Ashi, when he asked the original question, is there a quarter tzroiros? Could you get to a quarter if you do it strangely? He says it goes oh, that might be what you're saying. Oh, that's what we're saying, that Rav Ashi was learning like Rabbanan, and since it's weird, so it's Revia Nezik Veshinui. So do we say that the shinui, because it's different, it brings it down another level to 25%? Teiku. Listen, at the end of the day, there's all these teikus. It's rare they have so many teikus in a row. Tishbi Yitaris Kushbi Boys, and when Eliyahu Navi will come, he'll give us all the answers. And the bottom line is the Gemara is trying to show us that from a kasha start finished, just because you have a question and you don't know the answer doesn't mean you don't keep on going. Keep on going, ask another question. You don't have an answer, keep on going. A lot of people even today have a lot of questions. Why did this person get kidnapped and why did this person get killed? And like you were just saying, somebody that we know here in Chicago lost 2 nephews. There's a lot of very, very unfortunate things going on. But we don't understand things and we go weiter. If an animal is forced to walk on top of these stones that are going to shoot out from underneath her feet, and she kicked the stone and it squirted out, it shot out, and it damaged, what's the halacha? The famous Gemara in Avodah Zarah, the beginning of Avodah Zarah, that Las Lavai, Goyim are going to come to Akash Baruch and say it's not fair, we didn't get the mitzvah. Hashem says, here's the sukkah, and they take the sukkah, and then he takes out the sun, and they run out, they give a kick to the sukkah, and they run out. And everybody asks the question, but the mitzvah put them in a sukkah, like what did they do wrong? The answer is, they didn't have to kick it on their way out. The yid that goes out in the star, he goes out, but tsar, he doesn't give it a kick. Over here also, this animal could have walked normally. Why did it have to kick? It's kicking. Mao. Maybe because it can't do anything else, it has to walk like that, then it's like regel. If it's regel, what is this called? Tzroiros. But maybe, right now, it's kicking. And therefore, it's actually, what would it be? And 25%. According to if there's such a thing as 25%, because it's weird, it's strange, tzroiros, take you again. Some take out this ubata, we can read it, ubata, v'tiza, v'zika mao. She's walking with Rishus Rabbim.
Let me ask you, when you have a take in these situations,
Yeah.
so what do we pay?
So we get 25%?
No, nothing. You have to prove. Oh, you're saying there should be a minimum of 25, and between 25 and 50, he has to bring a raya. In that case, yeah. Says the Gemara, if this animal is walking Rosh Hashanah and it did sroiros, mau, we know the answer to this because Rashi emphasized in the beginning what the halach is. What is sroiros from our boy say? Is it keren or regel? It's regel, we said, and regel is only chayiv in Rosh Hashanah. Ubir b'zdei acher. So I don't even know if I have the whatever. Let's just keep it off. Oh, sorry. So the Gemara has a question. Is it like because you only pay 50% for tzroiros? Is it like the keren that has a tam and a muad, which sometimes pays 50, and therefore you're chayiv even in rishus harabim? Or dilma told the regelu. Perhaps it's walking normally, not benefiting, not trying to damage, so therefore it's more like a regel. Uptura, and it's pater in rishus harabim. Amalei mistarba told the regelu. And therefore, it's pater rishus harabim because it's like regel. Listen to this. We have a nice thing. You work on this. So first of all, I want to show you a meme that somebody sent. Stop being such a Karen. I mean a Karen. Okay, fine. At least somebody enjoyed it. Here's a rishus harabim, and you have a horse going down rishus harabim and causes stroiros in or Rosh Hashanah. Okay. Fine. That's another shaila coming up. So again, we just established that in order to be chayav for stroiros, it has to be in Rosh Hashanah. But what if it initiated in Rosh Hashanah and continued on into Rosh Hashanah and caused the damage in Rosh Hashanah? Mau. Amalei. Akira Inkan Anocha Yeshkan. This is a borrowed lashon, I believe, from Masechet Shabbos. When we talk about Akira Anocha, that in order to be chayiv for carrying, you have to lift something up and put it down. So if the Akira, in other words, the initiation, the start of the action happened in the wrong place, it happened in Rosh Hashanah, how are you going to be chayiv? Just because the end and the effect happened in the rishus that you're chayiv, meaning Rosh Hashanah, that doesn't make you chayiv. You have to start it and end it in the Rosh Hashanah. What's a good example of somebody in Rosh Hashanah causing damage in Rosh Hashanah? Bizman hazeh. I think if you live in Eretz Yisrael, what?
Maybe a snowplow.
Okay, something that happens all the time, especially in Eretz Yisrael.
Playing the ball in the street.
Okay, yeah, that happens. You're right, that does. Playing baseball and you bust the window, yeah.
Drive-by shooting.
Something that happens a lot. Drive-by shooting. That's Chicago on the south side. In Eretz Yisrael and in Brooklyn, New York, and in a place like that, a chasuna hall coming out or just playing loud, coming out of a chasuna into the middle of the street at 1 a.m. and screaming on top of your lungs, "Hey, give me the car!" And there's people sleeping at home, so you're screaming in the street. You're waking up all these people. You're causing damage in Rosh Hashanah. Just thought about it, huh? Gezel Shena. Wake them up. They didn't have a geschmack of sleep. That's not damage. Don't worry, I'm telling you, it's damage. People get very upset about it. You won't get up and Miriam asleep because you decided to scream and have a loud conversation right next to my window.
Police. Yeah, they call police.
There's one of the halls by us.
We have some Mexicans living there.
One of the halls by us has a meter, and if the music goes a little over the thing, the electric goes off. Yeah. Fine. Zog the Gemara. Yeah, I believe it's real. It's for sure not menschlichkeit, but it's Gezel Shena. Says Gemara. Eisvei. Oh wow. Time flies when we're having fun. This is a lot easier sugya than we had yesterday. Yesterday was one of the tough ones, really. I think we lost that guy from yesterday. He didn't come back. You're walking in the street, the animal's going, and it says whether it was Rosh Hashanah, whether it was Rosh Hashanah, says Gemara, my love, it is Rosh Hashanah. Oh, you see, not like we just said. We established that the whole hezek of Tzrois has to be Rosh Hashanah. Over here, it seems like it could be Rosh Hashanah. Loy, it's not the pshat. It is Rosh Hashanah, Bezikim Rosh Hashanah. Oh, so that's also not like we said. Over here, it says that it started, initiated in Rosh Hashanah and went to Rosh Hashanah. You just said that both have to be Rosh Hashanah. Amarle Hadri B. I'm taking it back. What's interesting is, and it seems like almost a theme in the last few daf, the same thing repeats itself 3 times with the same mandamar. Esvei. She stepped on a vessel and broke it. I'm not going to go through the whole thing again. You guys know what I'm talking about. The chicken was dancing on the thing. Thing broke. Something flew and broke another kli. On the first kli, pay full amount. That's called regel. The second one, it's called sroirois. You pay half. And it says, explains, that's only in Rosh Hashanah. On the first one, you potter. Why? Because it's regel. And regel b'shus harabim. Potter. The second one is sroirois. And even in Rosh Hashanah, chayeves. Wait a minute. We just said sroirois has to be in Rosh Hashanah. My love, it is Rosh Hashanah, Zig Rosh Hashanah. L'chor is talking about sroirois and Rosh Hashanah. Lo, it is Rosh Hashanah, Zig Rosh Hashanah. It's talking about half and half. It started out in Rosh Hashanah and finished off in Rosh Hashanah. You established that both have to be Rosh Hashanah. Amalei Hadribi. So this is the second time he said. So some want to say that he only said it once. The Gemara is just trying to get into our skulls. When people wake you up, like I did basically to the Belzers, 12:15 in the morning, and I asked him, what's the pshat and rava? And he didn't, I could mamish make I promise. He didn't hesitate for a second, and he told me in a millisecond, look at Daf Yomi, and he knew the whole sugya, 12:15 in the morning. Amalei, Hadribi. Eini, Daf Amud Beis, V'amar Reb Yochanan. Ein, Chetzi Nezek Cholok. I got to say this before I forget. The turning of the daf is sponsored by Chanan Averbuch in honor and in memory of my holy nephew, son of Robert and Jen, the Nishmat Binyamin Meir ben David, and another sponsor. And I made a mistake. It's not $1,000. It's $1,800 each. The Nishmat Binyamin Meir ben Robert and Robert David. I have to get his real full name. I'll speak to him one of these days. Rabbi Yochanan says, when it comes to this chatzi nezek, there's no difference between Rosh Hashanah and Rosh Hashanah. My love, we're talking about sroirois. So you see, there's no difference that there is sroirois in Rosh Hashanah. You told me that sroirois is only Rosh Hashanah. Loi, it is Rosh Hashanah. It started in Rosh Hashanah, goes to Rosh Hashanah. Oh, you told me it's in Rosh Hashanah. Hadri B. We have to understand what's pshat. Okay, 3 times in a row. Rabbi Yochanan wasn't talking about sroirois. He was talking about Keren. The tam starts off. Chatzinezek, no difference between Rosh Hashanah and Rosh Hashanah. Yosef Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah. Who's Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah? So we have Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, Rabbeinu HaKadosh, the author of the Mishnah, and we have his grandson. He is Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah, not Nasi. Rabbi Shaya Akilo de Rabbi Yehuda. So they were sitting with Rabbi Shaya, Rabbi Yehuda Nesiah. Rabbi Shaya was sitting by the kilo of Rabbi Yehuda. Novak Muslim Vinay. Kishkishab is Nova Mao. Oh, here we go, Rabbi say. Kishkishab is Nova. What would you say? What's the halacha? Chayiv Potter, Chayiv Chatzinezek. It's not right. Yeah, you should be Chayiv. Guess what? Regel. And where's this? And no, Regel Shuzarabim. Potter. You walk with your animal and it starts making a mess messing with people's stuff, potter. Shalom. It's hard to comprehend, but listen, if I have permission to bring my car, which is my bull in those days, and these animals do funny things with their tails. So either you move your stuff in, but I have a right to go here. It's Rosh Hashanah, and I'm not mechuyev to worry about this and worry about that. It's regular. It walks, it stomps on food, it does funny things, and I'm potter.
Same thing shopping when your car hits the bottle of pickles in the store. But also,
Yeah, but that's because you're in there and the guy in the store is going to be Michael you, probably. But what if you took your shopping cart and you walked into somebody else's store and you hit his stuff in the front of the store? I don't think he's so potter. I mean, you are maybe, but I don't think he thinks you're potter. There's a certain understanding in the store that they bother you. I had a story right here in this Home Depot on the van where I think I said the story. You break, you buy it. I bought a toilet from them. And as I was putting it into my car, it broke. So I went back in there and I said, manager, I could have told you that I bought it broken, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I broke it as I brought it into the car. He said, no problem. Because he said the MS, I don't know if he has zchus, I'm thinking about it now. He probably does. He has certain authority. They gave me a brand new one.
Rebellion. This is
Yeah.
the cow is a reaction. The cow doesn't have a Sahara to do these things.
Right. 100% doesn't have a yitzhar when it walks either. When it walks and steps on top of a watermelon and just smashes into smithereens, doesn't care. Keeps on walking as if nothing happened. It's not intending to break it. That's what regel means. It's not eating it. It's not enjoying it. It's not benefiting. And it's not damaging on purpose. If the cow, out of anger, went and started knocking these things over, like a meshugana, like a horse that gets spooked out, then you're chayiv. Then it's called keren, and you're chayiv. Half, tam, mud. But regel, that just... No, says the Gemara, listen to this. We'll leave this picture up here for a second. What do you want him to do? Hold his tail? He's not going to hold his tail. And what about a Karen? So say what? You have to hold on. You have to hold on to his horns and make sure it doesn't do damage. But of course, you chayiv in Karen. It's not normal for a Karen to go crazy, but it's normal for it to swat away the flies or whatever it does with its tail. So, since this is the derech, so what were you asking? Yeah, it should be potter. Says the Gemara, kishkush yatira meboile. Here's kishkush yatira. What are these? Okay. A little extra. If it broke something with its male member, it's not normal for it to happen, so it's like Karen. When he does it with his horns or whatever, he wants to do damage. So maybe it's not like Karen, it's more like regel. Should be potter. There's no kavana. Teiku. Another teiku. So the Mishnah says that it's normal for a chicken to go and break, and then the Mishnah adds, you have to add the line, that what if there was like a string tied to its leg and it broke something? What are you chayiv? Chatzi nezik. Amar Avuna. Leishanu elo shenik shamei lov. This, yeah, we go back. Leishanu elo shenik shamei lov. What we just learned, says Ravuna, I'm going to see, the Gemara is going to change it slightly. He says, Nu halacha. In the beginning, we understand that he's explained the Mishnah. That it's talking about that it got like tied. You know, sometimes a fishing line gets tied to a shark, whatever. It gets tied. It got tied to his leg. He was walking and some fishing line got caught on his leg. But if a human being ties it to the chicken, then you're chayiv. Why? What is that called, Rabbi say? This is called bar. You're putting a bar out there. Somebody tripped on it, chayiv. Says the Gemara, Nikshamei man chayiv. If it happened by itself, who's going to be chayiv? The owner of the string. Hechidami. What's the case? He hid it in his drawer, and the chicken went into the drawer and tied it to his leg. Onasu. And if he left it out in the street, Posheo, he left it, he just threw it into the ocean, and an animal came and got tied up in it and caused damage, then the owner of the string is chayiv. Elo, you have to say chayiv al tarnagol. And we must say that the owner of the chicken is chayiv. So why shouldn't he pay the whole amount? Why is he paying half? The human being creates the bar, not the animal creating a bar. And over here, the chicken created the bar. So too, he shouldn't be chayiv at all. Why should he be chayiv chatzi nezek? So I just want to point out, somebody sent this to me and I thought it was very interesting. This is just, if you want to see, look closely, it's the Stipler who says that a person that owns a mikvah, he has a chiyuv to put mats out. And if he doesn't put a rubber mat or whatever mats they put out there, and somebody slips and breaks his neck, which happened a bunch of times, or real damage, then you created a barbishus rabbim, you're chayiv. So it's going to get this stuff to our life as well. Or here, for instance, this is something that Yoshi did in the beginning of the Masechta. This is a guy doing sponge in Eretz Yisrael. And it says on top, "Tznius b'chol atnuos," because that was the line that the principal told me in Eretz Yisrael. Your daughter, she's makbid on tznius, but is she makbid b'chol atnuos? Like, what are you talking about? No, Rabbi Yashiv said that even when you walk up the stairs, like, okay, whatever. You're makbid, but the so like all these shilas and all these bringing out the tape measures and measuring, it's
Safety pins.
I don't know what. Tznius is, it's halacha. Halacha is halacha, but they make such a thing out of it. Ella, Ella says the Gemara, Masnisin b'da adiyah duye. We're not talking about a bar. We're talking about that the chicken threw it. We're talking about tzroires over here. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about a bar, like something stuck to the chicken's leg, and like a banana peel stuck to the chicken's leg, and a guy came and slipped and it broke his arm. We're talking about the chicken took this rope and chucked it and broke something. So he's not coming to explain the Mishnah, he's just saying Allah, what? Lil Hefker. Ravuna, if there's a string that was Hefker, says Ravuna, Nikshamei love Potter. If the chicken tied it up by his own, like he got stuck in it and it got attached to his leg, Potter. And if a human being comes and ties it in his chayiv, Mishumai chayiv, what are you chayiv for? This is bar mizgalgel. This is a moving pit. Don't think that a bar is something stationary, like a puddle of water, like a hole in the ground. You can have a bar that keeps on going. Says the Heilige Mishnah. Let me show you this video and tell me what you think about it. Tell me what you think you're chayav over here. Here goes. Not this one. Here we go. This, I'm not going to tell you how many hours it took. But let's just say more than 12. Because it's 3D. It's different. It's a different type of animation. What do you chayav for that? What do you chayav for this?
It's like the reaction.
So Shane, the first Shane, you chayav the whole amount. But what about the phone? Oh, so it says the Mishnah, Keitzad Hashem Muedes, what's normal for the animal to eat? Lechal Tzarayla, to eat things that are normal for. Now the fire kind of throws it off. I would say peppers are good for an animal. Yeah, I think it just for the humor he ruined the thing. You can say both of them, huh? You didn't have the fire. It's hot peppers. Oh, fine. And then the Mishnah says, isn't this the same exact word that we said in the beginning? Again, the shen, the animal, eats what's good for it, normal for it, and then it says, an animal, it eats things that are normal for it. So if you remember, we had this just 2-3 daf ago. that the Gemara explains this Mishnah, that the first part of the Mishnah is talking about a chaya, and the second line of the Mishnah is talking about a behema. Ha-behema mu'edes lechel beres v'yakas. It's a chiddush that even a lion or a deer that's a chaya also has the chiyuv of shen, eats things that it's normal for it. What about what if it ate an iPhone? That's the case. That mishalim chatzi nezek. Why do you pay half an nezek and not the full amount? Because that's not called shen. What is that called? Keren. Yeah? Here. Eating an iPhone is Keren. Yes, he's eating it. So what if he's eating it? Shen doesn't mean to eat. Shen means to enjoy and benefit from something. To eat fruit and vegetables. To eat things that you typically eat. Now, what if an animal eats food that doesn't typically eat? Like, every animal's picky. Some animals eat hay. Some animals eat meat. So what if an animal that eats hay eats meat? So that we're going to see in a second. That's eating. That would be eating. Yeah. Yeah, listen, I'm giving a disclaimer here. All art is for demonstrative purposes only. There's no halachas over here. You can't learn from the bowling ball and this and the chicken. It's just the savers eisen. Do cows eat hot peppers? I don't think so. But for this case, we're going to say they eat hot peppers. And they don't eat cell phones. It could be that sometimes hot peppers are good for them. Sometimes cell phones are good for them. Sometimes so. Now we're going to understand that typically cell phones are not good for them. Especially those batteries are not very healthy. Says the Gemara, this is in Reshus HaNizik. Why does it have to be in the Reshus HaNizik? It says over here, it has to be in your friend's field. It can't be in Reshus HaRabim. Reshus HaRabim, Potter, Shen is Potter Reshus HaRabim. Right? Don't forget, we finished Regel, Keitzad Regel, and now we're moving to Shen. Shen and Regel are very similar. If it enjoys it, now we're not going to understand what we're talking about. We're going to get to the Gemara. If it benefits from it, you have to pay at least the value of the meal of the animal, not so much the value of the fruit. Let's say he eats truffles and it's $10,000 a pound. The owner will pay him $1 for a nice geschmack meal for his animal because that's what he would pay for hay. He doesn't have to pay the whole amount. On the side, we're going to have to get to the Gemara. And that we saw already, but I'll just show you my picture. Pesach Chanut means there's a picture in Machne Yehuda. They would take the front of the store and lower it down. And these pictures you can't really see because these are fancier things. But it's in the front of the store. It's out of the store. So if the animal walked by and chopped a few candies, Mishalem is Mashenahanes. And if it goes into the store, you pay what it damaged. I'm going to see the Gemara. What's the case? It has to be in Reshus HaYachid. So it goes into the chotzer of the one damaged. And ate vegetables that are good for it. And drink water, like not wine or anything, like normal stuff. You have to pay the full amount because Shen pays the full amount. There is no tam by Shen, right? And so too, if you have a pet lion in Dubai and it goes and it grabs a sheep from your neighbor and eats the meat, this is strange. This is a cow eating barley, which is not normal for it. The veg, which I showed the picture before, donkey doesn't eat veg. Cow eats veg. Donkey eats soirim, barley. The kelb shalikis hashemen and dog drinking oil, which is not normal. Typical chazir eats other stuff, but since betchak they could eat it, so they eat it over here. So we'll just say two more. We'll just read two more lines. Learn two more lines. You just told me that if a dog drinks oil, which is not normal for it, but it's it's considered achila, even if it's shloya de'adchak. The dog was not hungry; he just came, stickle oil, let's eat it. Hai shunra, this cat, the achli tamri that eats dates. Mechamora dochel binisa. This could have been a geshmaka picture. And a donkey that's eating a geshmaka piece of gefilte fish. Meshalim nezek shalem. Pays a nezik shal. I'll just tell you this joke because that's in the shir, so most of the people are not listening. Those who are listening already know my humor. I'm not going to take this seriously. There's a talking about a chamor that eats differently. So a kid asked his father, do donkeys get married? He said, no. Whoever gets married is a donkey. Okay. Boys, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock Chicago time. And now we're going to say Tehillim, the zchus, all the cholim, and the 8 o'clock. Sorry. Regular time. 8 o'clock in Chicago, 9 o'clock in New York. Shir Hamalo, Ismi Mamaki, Grosicho Adino, Ishimo Vigoili, Yenos of Geshavos, the Goda Hanoi, Imabo Nois Ishmorio, Adoino, Miyamo, Kim Hoas the Hol, the Manti Borei, Kivisi Adino, Gibson Nafshi, with Vero, Holti, Nafshi Ladino, Shoimir Laboiker, Shoimir Laboiker, Yachel Yisrael Ladino, Kim Adino, Yaches, Rabbi Moifedus. Who yidden Israel, Mikol, Avnisov, Achein, Gobais Israel, and Sunim Mitzoro, Vishivio, Point the Mebayom, Mebayabo, Shom, Gibrachim Alayim, with Sim, Mitzor, Rebach, Mafed, Loirum, Shubal, Gulo, Hashto, Bagalov, Zman, Koriv, Venim Aromein, Shkoyach, Rabboisai.